Hello, hello! Welcome back to Brenda's Books. Today we are on Chapter 54 of Sara's War. Here we go. Chapter 54, Wild Card. The world is pitch black. There's no moonlight, lamplight, lighthouse, nothing. I sprint through the sand until I reach Lucy. My KAC-2 is resting in the rowboat in a puddle of Chris's blood. I pull out a disinfectant wipe from my backpack and wipe it down. If Lexy were here, she would certainly laugh at my OCD habits and say something like, "We're in the real world now, Doc, not a hospital." But there's no way to change my habits in an instant. I hear thunder in the distance. This time it actually is thunder. I grip my rifle and peer around at the ominous scenery. Now what? My imagination runs wild with the darkness. Creeping, shadowed monsters, leering, lecherous murderers, even gigantic water snakes enter in. Flashes of Emma's screams and the ugly face who knocked me to the ground haunt my memories, bringing back the exact frantic heartbeat I had when it happened. The same thing is going to happen to me again. I just know it. The terror strikes me so hard and fast, I fall to my knees with my hands in the sand. I gasp and pant, then hurl what seems like gallons of vomit. I wheeze some more as my legs and arms shake violently. This is pointless. If Jack, who has to be the strongest man on the planet, can't take on this unknown number of men, how am I going to help? Just then my phone dings. I grab another wipe and clean off my hands and chin before I zip open the large pocket on my thigh and read the text on my glowing screen. If Jack is still alive, you can help, Sara. You are the enemy's unknown factor. They're not counting on you being there. You're smart. I know you can do this. My breathing slows as I try to figure out who sent this to me. Is this Chris? I text back. Yes. Can you see me? Yes. My waterproof suit coat saved my night vision goggles. Why don't you borrow a pair from one of the guys on the dock? I bet they won't mind. I blow out a gush of air. Now I know firsthand why the company respects Chris so much. He's calm and steady and encouraging. And brilliant. I stand and make my way to the massive pier. For better or worse, death doesn't bother me as much as potential death. I choke back my sadness as I pat down the first soldier I come to. 4 soldiers later, I find a pair of night vision goggles tucked away in his thigh pocket. I put them over my eyes, and the world brightens with an eerie green glow. Dread and fear clamp my chest as I walk among the fallen heroes. But to my extreme relief, Jack is not one of them. Neither is Nate or Lexy, although Lexy is probably in the sky. A slow breath expands my lungs as a dribble of courage returns to my gut. If I can see better, my personal terror just might be manageable. It has to be. I'm the wild card. They don't expect me. I walk off the pier with purpose this time. Contrary to all common sense, I know I can help Jack. I know he's alive. He has to be. Just as I step off the wooden planks, my phone dings again. Shadowing it with my hand, I read its message. Is Jack one of them? No. And Nate? No. Thank the Lord. Yes. Go get him, Doctor. Stay in the Hummer, Captain. He doesn't respond to that. I tuck my phone back in my thigh pocket and zip it up. Wild card. Here I come. Even in broad daylight, it would be impossible to find this hidden hatch. I know I am about 300 yards south of the pier. But after 20 minutes of searching what felt like every grain of sand within a 50-foot area, I cannot find the blasted door leading to the Navy's secret underworld. Could they have buried it again? Did they already leave? I stop in my tracks and place my hands on my hips. I wish I had asked Jack more about his spy tricks, rather than griping about our long-lost whatever it is. What should I do? Staying out in the open is probably a bad idea. I sit in the sand and curl up like a large rock. This is ridiculous, I whisper out loud. I glance out at the crashing waves. One of my favorite sounds has now turned haunting. I see a flicker of something. What is that? A seagull? No, it's a periscope of a submarine. Or it's a shark. I'm not sure which one is more terrifying. I watch in stillness as the sub edges closer. It stops. Then the solid sail comes into view. Then the outer hull, rippling the water in all directions. A small compartment opens. Terror strikes me again, and I bolt as far away from the shore as I can until I reach a lone palm tree. I lie on my stomach as still as possible as I peer around the trunk, half expecting a missile to explode out of the sub at any moment. Instead, something hard and round presses into my back. Hot air breathes on my neck. Sudden alarm slashes through me. You have 3 seconds to tell me who you are and why I can trust you. My initial horror dissipates when I recognize this voice. Because I'm your friend, Lexy, I murmur. Lexy plops next to me on her forearms and pushes my shoulder back to look at my face. I stare back at her incredulous expression. Her eyes bulge with dismay. I almost shot you. Thank you for holding back. What are you doing here? She whispers angrily. Same reason you are, to help Jack. You don't even know what you're doing, she yells. Which is why I'm hiding behind a palm tree, I say with a smile. This trunk can barely hide a mouse. You have 0 stealth skills, Sara. Thank you, I whisper, not bothering to argue. Do you know where the hatch is? Lexy rolls her eyes. Of course I do. Pardon me, I say with sarcasm. I'm sorry, Lexy says. It's just, now I'm worried about you too. Let's just figure out how to help Jack, okay? Lexy nods and stares thoughtfully out at the ocean. Actually, you might just be the twist of fate we need, Sara. Lexy unzips her overstuffed fanny pack and pulls out a Navy seaman camo uniform and hat and hands them to me. Why are you giving me this? Lexy rubs her fingers through the sleeve and lifts it up for me to see. Cleverly woven into the camo is a finely stitched symbol of the daggered rose. The hat has one too. I was planning on doing this myself, Lexy says, but it was likely to fail since most of the traders recognize me now. But no one will recognize you. Lexy, what are you talking about? And how did you get that uniform? Lexy shrugs. The same way I got the grill and your dress. My dress? I roll my eyes. Great. I loved that thing, and now I'll never be able to wear it again. But Jack will be so disappointed, Lexy says, with puppy eyes and a sweet little voice. He won't if he's dead. Now please, let's come up with a plan. I already have a plan, and I know you can pull it off. You just have to put on the same confidence you have with all that doctor stuff. What are you talking about? I bend my elbows to raise my hands and throw them back down. Put these on. Lexy hands me the enemy uniform. They'll fit you better anyway. The guy was scrawny. I stare at her in disbelief. Please don't tell me you want me to pretend I'm on the other side. That's exactly what I want you to do. Nobody knows who you are. I open my mouth to speak, but nothing but gutturals come out. Look, Lexy says, shifting in the sand. If that sub is already here, that means any minute a dozen traders wearing this uniform are going to climb out of the hatch with Jack. Even though I'm a better shooter than all of them, I'll only be able to get 3 at the most before they see me and get me. And they'll definitely get you. She glances over my unprotected self. And that will leave no one else to help Jack. Especially since I don't know where Chris is, Lexy says with a grimace, almost as an afterthought. I open my mouth to tell her, but I hesitate. Lexy squeezes my arm with urgent concern. What? He was shot, but I patched him up myself, and he'll be fine if he doesn't move. Where is he? He's in a Hummer over by the pier. I can tell Lexy has more questions, but we both quiet as muffled chatter rumbles from underground. Put on the clothes, quick, Lexy whispers, as she throws the uniform on my lap. I yank off my boots and stuff the nasty uniform over my army uniform. Do you think they already... I can't finish the thought. Lexy shakes her head hard. No, Jack is smart. He'll get out of this one. The guys in the hatch are just bloodthirsty idiots who follow Brontis's orders. Brontis? The leader of the Daggered Rose, who is smart. And since there's no way we can keep them from getting Jack on the sub, you have to get on there too and convince the idiots that Brontes wants them to take Jack to the nearest island. And just how am I going to do that? I ask, panic rising in my throat. Okay, their code of trust is, the rose doesn't prick, it poisons. I repeat the phrase back to her. Lexy nods. The game refers to someone they want killed, i.e. Jack. Also, tell the helmsman of the sub that Brontes wants the seals to eat dirt soon. That means he wants them to go to the nearest landmass. The helmsman is the only one who will know that phrase, which will make him trust you more. What about the officers on board? Lexy shakes her head. There won't be any. The Navy officers are the good guys. She stops short and shakes her head again. Never mind. For now, you've got to put on your actress skills. I groan. If I ever had any. Lexy continues in a quick, urgent tone. If you say Brontes wants the game for himself, that means he wants to kill Jack his way, which he does. But he won't be on the island, so you've got to convince them to go there. They will let Jack out and the sub will leave. They'll probably assume that Brontes just wants him to starve to death. Once they get him on the island, you need to find the escape door. It's on the west side. You know how to swim, right? I stuff my army boots back on. Yes, I know how to swim, but suddenly the hatch door lifts open, then slams shut again, causing sand and dust to fly everywhere. Lexy and I both freeze. Blast, that's where the hatch is? I walked over that thing 500 times probably. Okay, Lexy whispers. They're trying to get out. Go quietly to the south of the hatch so they don't see you when they open the door. Then just join the group when they get on the sub. Wear this hat and I promise they won't realize someone new is with them until you get on the sub. I place the hat snugly on my head, just as the hatch flips open and shuts again. Go now, Lexy whispers. I jump to my feet, then immediately fall down on my knees and hug Lexy as tight as I can. Lexy returns the squeeze. You're going to crush this, Sara. I dash away and make it to the south side of the hatch just as the door slams open and stays open. I got it, someone calls. I stand still and silent as the rowdy group crawls out of the hatch. Bring him up, Lester. I'm working on it, Bryce. He's not exactly light. Bryce rolls his head. We should untie him. He's the only person who can get himself up. No, everyone else shouts. Then have him step on the ladder. You push and we'll pull him up from here, Bryce shouts. Bryce and another guy reach down the hatch and heave a large man up and over the ledge. His vast shoulders drag through the sand. Bloody bruises smear his face. If I didn't know Jack so well, I don't think I would have recognized him. Okay, we got him! Just as Jack is getting to his feet, he kicks the person behind him in the face, who I assume is Lester. I'm not sure if it's on purpose or not. Hey! Lester yells, followed by a stream of profanities. He crawls over the edge, slams the hatch door shut, and lunges to tackle Jack. But Jack holds his ground and doesn't even budge, making it look a lot like a one-sided hug. Lester moves to punch him in the stomach, but Jack lifts a knee and blocks it. Lester shakes his hand in pain. We should just kill him now. Brontes wants him alive, Bryce responds. Why? Lester complains. He's never going to talk. Bryce groans. You're such a whiner. He makes his way to the water and the group follows. I hold back and walk behind Jack and the 4 people hovering around him, gripping his arms. Anxiety in all its forms swerves through my stomach, down my legs, and up my throat as my feet splash through the water. I'm the last one to jump up on the outer hull of the submarine. Lexy was right. No one even looks at me twice. I follow the group through an open compartment and down a steel ladder screwed to the sub's inner wall. After cramming through a narrow hallway, the crowd piles into what I assume is the sub's operations center. I remove my night vision goggles and hang them around my neck. The yellow lights of the sub feel strange. Never before have I seen so many control consoles. Numerous control panels of all kinds circle the room. A tall blonde man with the same camo uniform as mine is busy scanning screens and maps. He's sitting at the helm, the steering wheel of the submarine. This must be the helmsman Lexy referred to. Most others are sitting on chairs in front of their panels doing nothing but bantering loudly. I catch a couple of them staring at me with broad grins. I pretend not to notice. Then I spot a guy in army green camo, sitting on the floor with his hands tied behind his back. His clothes are wet, and he definitely looks like he's taken a good beating. My heart sinks. It's Nate. How does he always find trouble? I stare at him until he meets my gaze. His eyes swell with shock, then worry. I don't know if he recognizes my subtle change in uniform, but fortunately, he says nothing. Oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to pretend that I don't care he's sitting there in pain and freezing to death? Staring at him further, I remember a time he played the role of a formal butler on stage. The character was exactly the opposite of what his personality is, and he was flawless. If he can do that, maybe I can pretend to be someone else too, especially since it might save our lives. But now there's 3 of us I have to worry about. Just then, someone pushes me in the shoulder and shouts, "Hey, who are you? Who is this girl?" And that concludes Chapter 54. Next Thursday will be Chapter 55, which is called Giving It Your All. And we'll see how Sara handles her new undercover character. Until next time, take care.